Hi, I'm Terry and welcome back to my channel. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how I got into guitar and bass guitar and music in general. It all started at the Methodist Church for me, with a pastor. I don't remember his name, but at special occasions, he'd pull out his acoustic guitar and he'd play it. And one time I got to sit next to him while he was playing it and watched his hands and stuff as he was strumming and singing. And I thought it was really cool. But I really wasn't, I don't know, how would I put it? I don't think I was ready to start learning guitar, but around that time for Christmas, my parents got me a Hondo acoustic guitar and a strap and a case and some picks. Didn't know how to tune it, didn't know how to play it or anything. They got me a book to kind of teach myself how to do it. But that was no help because I couldn't understand what it was trying to say. I don't remember what book it was. I don't think it was a Hal Leonard book. It was something else. But then, a lot of people were getting into band at school, which is like, you know, cornet, flute, drums, and oboe and stuff like that. And I went to the tryout for it. I wanted to play drums because that's what I originally wanted to do, was play drums because it looked so cool. So I do the little audition without, you know, knowing anything about drums. And I also I was born with motor skills problems because I'll do another video on this at some point, but I was born with some disabilities. And so didn't end up getting to do drums, so I ended up choosing cornet, which is similar to an instrument my grandpa Osborne played. No relation to Ozzy Osbourne. And when it came time to perform in front of an audience, I just couldn't do it. In class, I could play, but getting in front of the audience, which is odd because I was in plays. And I was in every play I could get in growing up. Every play at school, every play at church, I would get into all these plays and be able to perform live, fine, but to do the musical instrument, it just was too difficult at that age. I think I must have been like 8 or 9, and then maybe even 10, I don't know. No, it was after that. It was, yeah, around 10. It was closer to 10. So then I gave that up because, gave up cornet because I would just not be able to perform live. That was part of taking the lessons, was you had to perform live. So I waited a few years, and my sister got into a band called Bon Jovi. She got into listening to their music. And one day she came home, talked to me and my mom, and she put on one of the Bon Jovi albums. I don't remember which one. It was around the time Slippery When Wet came out. And I remember when Slippery When Wet came out that the first time I heard Living on a Prayer, the guitar solo, I was like, ooh, that's really cool. And then in 1989, my sister, my mom, a friend of mine, and I think one of my sister's friends, we all went to a Bon Jovi concert. And seeing Alec John Such on bass and Richie Sambora on guitar live was awesome. I was more drawn to the bass than guitar. And so around that time, I took a couple guitar lessons at the same place my sister took piano lessons. And, you know, I learned a little bit. But I really wanted to play bass. and an electric bass, but my mom insisted that I needed to play guitar first. And so I gave that up. And then in high school, Mr. Big's first album came out in 1989. And then like right around 1990 is when I first heard the first Mr. Big album, because a friend who was in guitar class with me at high school, because I started taking guitar lessons in at the high school, because I wanted to get my first bass. And I made an agreement with my parents that I'd take guitar during the week, 5 days a week at high school, and then on Saturdays I would go take bass lessons. So this guy in class, I'd hang out, we'd jam a little bit at his house, work on writing, songs, or kind of work on writing songs. And in his tape collection, he had the first Mr. Big album, and I'm like, what's this? And he's like, oh, it's something you won't like. So that piqued my interest. So I went out, I think it was like within days of that, me and my friends went to the mall, and I bought that tape, and I put it on, and from that opening bass trill, I was hooked to Mr. Big. But it turns out I'd already heard Billy Sheehan playing, because my sister had one of David Lee Roth Band's tapes that Billy Sheehan played bass on. I can't remember if it was Eat 'Em and Smile or Skyscraper. And so I was hooked on Billy Sheehan and Paul Gilbert and the whole band right away. And then finding out that on the Iron Eagle soundtrack, Eric Martin, the singer for Mr. Big, sang on 2 songs on the Iron Eagle soundtrack, and then like Pat Torpey, the drummer, played drums on some well-known albums, and Paul Gilbert was in Racer X, and then I got the Racer X stuff, and was just hooked on Mr. Big and all the music they've done, and then watching interviews with them of them talking about the people they looked up to. So then I would go out and get vinyl records and tapes of the people they were influenced by, and was blown away by that stuff too. So starting in like 1990, I started playing bass, and finally owned my own bass. It was a blue short scale harmony bass. It was a Blue Burst short scale harmony bass. It had a volume knob, a tone knob, and 3 switches. 1 switch for the neck pickup on off, 1 for the bridge pickup on off, and then a switch for on off for the whole instrument. It sounded really good. I liked it. I bought it from a friend of my cousins, one of my cousins, and I played that for a while. And then around that time, I wanted to get my first electric guitar, and finally I was able to do, my parents helped me to do that. So I traded the harmony bass for a white Washburn Lion bass. It had a precision style pickup, 24 frets, a maple fingerboard. It was a really nice bass. And then I also got the matching guitar. So that was cool. I had the matching guitar and bass. The guitar had a Floyd Rose on it. So I had to, anytime I needed it restrung, I had to take it in to get restrung, because I could never figure out how to restring it. But it was really cool because you could raise the pitch or you could lower the pitch. And it sounded really cool. It looked like the kind of vibrato bar that Richie Sambora used, so I thought that was cool. And then over time I kept trading instruments in for better and better instruments or whatever. And then at some point I started going into, before the town I grew up in, we had like 2 music stores. So before one of them closed, I went in there and started learning some banjo stuff on 5-string and 6-string banjos. So that was kind of neat. And then at the other music store, the owner plays a whole bunch of instruments and has his own band. And he would show me how to do things on the drums, which is really cool. So that way when I would program drums on the drum machine I have, I'd actually be able to come up with parts that sounded normal. And then I also taught myself to read drum notation so I could, read famous drum parts and use that as inspiration for coming up with drum parts. And then I took, after the 2 years of guitar lessons at high school, that's, all you could do. And then I just continued taking the bass lessons on Saturdays at the music store in Kenosha, and continued doing that for several years. I had a really awesome teacher, and so that was good. And then yeah, that's pretty much how I got into playing guitar and bass. But when Mr. Big's Lean Into It album in 1991 came out, I loved every song on the album, but there was a song called Just Take My Heart. And there was a VHS videotape that was also called Lean Into It that came out around that time, which featured a bunch of interviews with the band and some music videos. And there was a music video on there that was a different version than the one on MTV for Just Take My Heart. And Billy Sheehan's playing a 6-string bass, and I had never seen a 6-string bass before. So I called up the music store and asked them what it was. What's this 6-string thing that Billy Sheehan's playing in this music video? And they're like, oh yeah, that's a 6-string bass. And I was like, well, is it tuned like a guitar? And they're like, no, it's tuned B-E-A-D-G-C. And I was like, well, that sounds interesting. So it's, and then they're like, there's also 5-string basses, which is tuned B-E-A-D-G, or some people tune them E-A-D-G-C. So that was neat. So that got me interested in wanting to have a 6-string bass. So finally in 1998, I got my first 6-string bass, and then eventually traded that for a knockoff of Paul McCartney's violin bass. But yeah, I've traded and sold stuff over time. The basses I have now I really like. I have a 6-string bass right here that is a jazz style bass that I bought off Rondo Music's. No, did I buy it off Rondo's? No, I bought it off eBay, but I could have bought it off of Rondo Music's website. It's an SX jazz style 6-string bass. And my other 6-string bass behind me is a Glary that I bought off of Amazon. And then I have two 4-strings. One's not on camera right now, but the other one is right here. It's a short scale J Reynolds bass. It looks just like the Squier mini precision bass. So I've got 4 basses and 4 guitars. And then 10 years ago, I started learning ukulele because my mom, on one of her trips to Hawaii, brought home a ukulele, and it's a Washburn Lion. So it's the same brand as what my first guitar was, but it's a acoustic ukulele, and it's made of koa, which is a wood that is, from what I understand, is native to Hawaii, and it's, I guess, a rarer wood because it only grows in Hawaii. And then I also have a U bass, which is a bass ukulele. It's tuned E-A-D-G, the exact same pitch as a electric bass or an upright bass. And it sounds kind of like, when you plug it in, it sounds kind of like an upright bass. So I have that. And then I just recently, when I sold a bass recently, I had enough money from it. I was able to buy a 6-string ukulele, which I've been wanting for quite a long time, and it's also known as a guitar lelele, and it's normally tuned A, D, G, C, E, A, but the one I bought, the previous owner had it set up to be tuned E, A, D, G, B, E, like a guitar, so it's like a small travel guitar. It sounds really neat. It still has a ukulele sound to it. It's fun to strum chords on and just mess around with it. It almost sounds like a classical guitar a little bit. So you can learn some classical type riffs on it. So that's cool. And then I also, in college, I took a year of piano lessons. And of the 5 songs to choose for the final exam, I chose the hardest one. And it was the first time in my life I got really good grades in any class ever. Even better than the grades I would get in science classes, which science was always my best subject. Which is why my major, well, even though it's an associate's degree, they had you pick a major. My major was anthropology. I took every anthropology and archaeology class the college offered. So that was really fun to kind of learn what the real life version of what Indiana Jones does. So yeah, that's my story with how I got into music. If you have any questions for me, put them in the comments sections below. And maybe I'll make it a series of occasionally talking about my relationship with music throughout my life. Like one of the first major pieces of music that really impressed on me was the Star Wars theme. And it was classical music. And then another thing I'll bring up real quick is growing up, I was exposed to a lot of different styles of music. And my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side, there would always be like opera music on or classical music on. And then when I'd go in the car with my mom, she would usually have like country or AM radio music on. And if I would be in the car with my dad, he would have like 1950s and 60s rock and roll or old radio shows. So I was exposed to a lot of different stuff. And then teachers at school, like in one of the elementary schools I went to, there was a music appreciation class. And I really liked that. That was cool. We got exposed to a lot of interesting music. Like we'd listen to jazz. We'd listen to classical music. We'd listen to early rock and roll. We'd listen to blues, country, stuff from around the world. So I've had a wide exposure to a lot of different music. And I've been to a lot of different concerts and stuff because my mom would take my sister and I to concerts, and I've seen, and then of course there was the concerts at school and the field trips and stuff. So all in all, I got exposed to a lot of really interesting stuff, and I'm still exposing myself to new music. Like I've been getting into listening to ambient guitar music. Because it's so relaxing and calming. I also like listening to like, I can't remember what it's called now. It's a type of classical music, but it's modern classical music, but it's got a name to it, and I don't remember the name of it right now. I've been listening to a lot of classical guitar lately. And one of the things I'm hoping to do this year is get back into guitar lessons and hopefully learn classical guitar, because I think it might expand my knowledge of how to create music and understand music, because there's a lot of music theory to classical music. So hopefully I'll get a teacher that'll go into the theory behind the different chord shapes and chord progressions and the structures of the melody and all that, which I got to do in college, which was neat, because I took 2 years in high school. I took 2 years of music theory, and and in that 1 year of piano class, there was a lot of music theory in that class too. So I love learning music theory. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my videos, please share them. It helps the channel. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments section, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. Maybe I'll even answer your questions by doing a video based on a question that I think deserves a video. I've got quite a few interesting upcoming videos to do. So it's gonna be interesting, the things that are coming. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week. And right now here it's raining. I don't know if you can hear the rain in the background or not, but yeah, it's been raining. So I will see you in the next video.